All right. welcome everybody. Okay, so for those of you who were here last week, oh shoot, that's not what I wanted to do. We did a sculpt of Serena Williams. Okay, kind of a superhero in the sports world, trying to kind of push female voices some and female characters. So here's kind of what we ended up with. Okay, not perfect, but you know, it's kind of there. It's got a ways to go, but we'll play with it at some point. Today, what I'd like to do is dive into a new hero. Get into AOC. Whoops. I didn't know that I could like zoom in on things by double clicking on them. So yeah, these are some pictures that I picked up that I thought were nice. And yeah, gonna go ahead and try to get her going. So let's see. I need to see which images I've downloaded to my folder so far so that I can reference them into Spotlight. Looks like so far I have these two, so I want to go ahead and get these two. Let me see. Save, export, selected image. Oh, come on, you. In fact, let's go ahead and do these images, or sorry, save, export, selected images. Perfect. Select folder, export. Excellent. And now I've got them. So nice, so simple. Hey guys. Leticia, hello. Watch me. Fixion, how you doing? 3D Gamer, Amoroso. Sammy Freddy. Sammy Fredo, sorry. There we go. How you doing? Alright, so here's what we're going to do. Let's grab this, bring it out of the way. Let's say import. And I don't know that I want to do... I don't know that I want to bring in all these images at the same time. Let's bring in... let's bring this one in. Texture, add to Spotlight. This is an image that I think we could possibly kind of cut out the background. So let's kind of bring that up. We'll use the paint, Control Alt, click and drag. We'll see if we can kind of keep her clothing in there. Oops, too much. Shoot. Too much. Shoot. Okay. Too much. Let's get rid of some of these things down here that we don't need. I feel like there's something there and I can't, or maybe it's something on my screen. It's something on my screen. Oh, that's embarrassing. Oops. Control Alt, click and drag. We can just, oops. Let's hit V to switch those colors. That's not wanting to be very... Come on, black. Oh, it's because the MRGB, the intensity is not up all the way. There we go. Now we're getting some stuff done. There we go. Yes. Let's get rid of stuff over on this side too. Kind of shrink it down, and then we can kind of get closer to her head without having to worry about ruining anything. Prepping a spotlight image is always super critical for starting off. Here we go. So now we can see there's that. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, so let's go ahead, let's bring her up here, and let's kind of store her in the corner. Maybe not so close to the corner that we kind of lose it. In fact, maybe we can take her down here, scale her up some, just so we can see shapes and things like that a little bit better, because that'll be more important. Yeah, and we'll call that good. Leopoldo, how you doing? From London, eh? That's awesome. That is awesome. Doomer, how you doing? How are you doing? Yeah, let's go ahead and get started with this. I want, with last week's sculpt, I started from a base mesh, and quite honestly, my base mesh would probably work for this just fine. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, not that. Tune me. This one. Oh, and it's actually not in there. It is in this folder. So I had started off with my own personal base mesh of my own head. And it, you know, it worked out. There were some things that I was learning about my base mesh as I was using it, though, which is really interesting to me, to be able to go through and kind of learn about how much I need to update my base mesh. Let's come over here. Subtool master, fill, material. Oh, I don't like that. Never mind. I thought for some reason, just because of the preview down here, I assumed it was going to look a little bit different. Yeah, let's just do skin shade. That should be fine. Fill. Okay. So let's see. All right. Let's get this started. Okay, so first thing, let's start by adjusting some. Oops, I don't want to do that. Kind of pull that up. Her nose doesn't have like the little crook in the nose. She has a little bit more top lip than I have, so I think I'll probably go ahead and kind of pull this up and in. Let's pull this up and out a little bit. And we'll make a lot of adjustments as we go along, but yeah, let's make some color adjustments to the eyes, just so that we're not looking at blue eyes. It'll help to. In fact, we'll make some overall color adjustments just to make sure. Let's go ahead and click and drag to that, click and drag to that, Click and drag to that. And that should be good. We'll invert the mask. Oh, I guess not. I don't want to invert the mask. I want to keep that the way it is. And let's push the hue. Something like that. Let's push the saturation. And then we'll pull the intensity way down here. Something kind of like that for now, or something. We'll decide later if we feel like that's working or not. Let's come up to the eyebrows. We'll do the same thing, adjust color, and then we'll just say bring that intensity like way down. With the color of the model, we're going to want to do the same thing, adjust the colors. In fact, let's make sure this is all the way up in subdivisions here. Oh yeah, spotlight. Let's go ahead and sample spotlight projection, and let's save the spotlight just so that we can get back to it if we need it. Hello India, how are you doing, mod? Today I'm off. Too much from the heat here. We have maximum alert for Monday. Temperatures will exceed 4. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I heard it over in the UK. There's kind of a call of like, you know, take your grands to work for this heat wave that's going through, and I mean, it's not. I don't know how big of a push it is. But it's, you know, hopefully everything can get worked out in a way that's you know, good and helpful to everyone. Needs to be a little bit more sandy color to the skin. Maybe we'll lower the intensity just a tad to kind of boost the RGB intensity. Color-wise, it looks a little bit better. There's still going to be like some painting in that I need to do, but that's fine. Okay, let's go ahead and work on getting different structures worked in there. So things like the brow is not as heavy, so let's work on that some. Yeah, I have a friend in the UK who just finished up her master's, and that was one of the things that she was talking about on her in her stories on Instagram recently, and I was just like, oh wow. Let's change this over to the mask lasso. I feel like something weird's going on with my machine, and I hope it's not dying because I can't afford for it to die. And then she has a lot less of like a sag to her brow too, so let's see if we can. Let's kind of hide this, soften it there, and then right here I want to keep that shape intact, and I want to keep that shape intact, so we're gonna kind of hook that in. I don't really want to change the eyelid, so let's do this. We'll just kind of smooth it out, see how that works for us. Maybe what we can do is we can hide the eyebrows for now. Let's actually delete this whole folder because we don't need that. Okay, the forehead and the top of the head is like entirely too big. Check that out. Boom. A little bit better. Let's use some colors. Kind of eliminate that purple there. And what we need to do is we need to get a little bit more yellow kind of coming in here. Coming up into the brow, maybe a little bit into the forehead. So for those of you who are not familiar with me or my stream, or me or my stream, I'm Steven Anderson. Just here to have fun. I'm a 3D character artist at Marvel Animation, and oh gosh, I love what I do. So fun. Working on an unannounced project, so I can't talk about it, but so much fun, and I think you guys will super love it when it starts to come out. It'll be for the stuff I'm working on is for Disney Plus. Lots of really cool content coming to Disney Plus, so I think you guys will enjoy it. Okay, so she's got like this like, she's got the eyelid area, but then she's also got like the eye bag stuff going in there. Mariana. Good day, everyone. I'm fairly new in the 3D world. I'm in love with character modeling. This is very inspiring and useful. Thank you for the stream. You're welcome. Just so that you guys are aware, I am fluent in English and in Spanish. So if you guys have questions, si hay alguna pregunta, avísenme. Let me know. I can answer questions. I love answering questions. One of the things that I really like about streaming is that there's so much there's so much opportunity for me to be able to share with people, and I enjoy that. So you know what, I'm thinking I might go through and stylize her quite a bit. Let's try really playing with some shapes and proportions and things like that. Let's see, what can we do? Well, I mean, shape needs to be really pushed. I think she needs to be like thinning out the face. So I do the character models. I also do some texturing. Come on. But yeah, essentially my job is making sure that the concept from visual development is honored, and trying to make it as much like the concept as possible, just so that we can kind of troubleshoot the design, so that we can get things consistent, things like that. It's really fun. I love my job. it's one of those things where it's the kind of job that that I love and enjoy so much that the weekends become hard because I enjoy working. I enjoy doing what I do. So, you know, this is where I get to do things that are my own personal projects and things like that, you know? Okay, I gotta widen out these nostrils. I'm going to try doing something here. And actually, let's do it with the red and the green. Yeah, it is cool to say that. It's definitely a very, very neat feeling, like being able to go to work and feel excited about it. That's the dream. Like there are too many people that I feel like are just too focused on just having a job, and they don't shoot for having a dream job. And I mean, it's still a job, it's still work, and it still keeps me super, super busy. But it's one of those things that I feel like gives you sustenance too, and I think that that's important, to be able to, you know, feel rejuvenated by your job, or to feel, you know, just to feel happy and replenished and filled, you know, satisfied because of your job. It's important. It's not always possible. And even at a job that you like, you're not always going to feel, yeah, it's not always going to be the most amazing, you know, wonderful thing, and you're not always going to feel, you know, happy and filled and satisfied and whatever. But okay, let me see. I want to kind of play with stretching proportions, so I'm going to play with raising the eyes. Starting to definitely feel a little bit more feminine though. That's great. Oh, you know what? Let's grab this whole eye socket area. Soften that. Oh my goodness. I only do stuff I like. I actually quit my army job to do the stuff next to my current job. But the dream is to do only sculpting, for sure. Yeah, I totally get that. Missed the start of the stream. Did you work on a... Yeah, I started with the base mesh for the sake of saving time on... Oh, that's not what I wanted. Control 1. For the sake of, you know, being able to hopefully get a full character done in the time that we have. I'm trying to like work through some different ideas that I have in my head. And so far it's not working and I'm regretting it, but we're trying it, you know, just to be able to see what we get. Let's try reshaping the area around the mouth. The mouth is really wide right now. Feels too something. Let's see, let's play with this a little bit. And it's like that nose needs to feel a little bit less droopy down through here. So I'm going to grab that. Let's go ahead and hide the, oops. Obviously the wrong thing to push. There we go. Boom, boom. Go ahead and hide that. We'll hide that and that. Kind of push this up some. Push up and soften it some. Let me see. I feel like there needs to be kind of more of a point to her nose right here in the front. It's just not feeling right. It's too wide too. Let's see. Let's turn on these eyelashes. Let's see about getting them into place. More or less anyway. She doesn't have like big eyelashes, so it's going to be one of those things that maybe we yeah, let's get rid of the other one, I guess. Man, my computer's really chugging along right now. There's a lot of lag. I need to see if I can troubleshoot that a little bit later and see what's going on to slow down my system. Because I mean, I just did a whole big sweep to get rid of, you know, software and files that I don't need right now. It seems like it's still suffering. This computer, how long have I had this computer? It's been a while. But it's, you know, it shouldn't have been long enough for it to be suffering so much. Let's see if we can get a little bit more length. Not terrible for block-in lashes. Yeah, lengthening out the face, I think a lot of it has to do with like the face shape though, because the face shape, there's not enough meat kind of around her. Around her chin, around her mouth and cheeks. So I think it's kind of just lacking a bit of that. It's a little bit too much now. I think the eyes need to be bigger and maybe closer together. So let's go ahead, let's play with that some. Yeah, there's a lot of like back and forth when I'm doing this sort of thing, especially if I'm trying to characterize. Let's go ahead and invert that, soften. Let's go ahead and make sure that those are selected. And then we'll just kind of scoot that closer together. I feel like this area of the head is also a little bit too out there. The space behind the ear here. And it might be worth going through and blocking in hair. Let me see. The shapes are all wrong. I've got to... This needs to probably come forward a bit and up. Yeah, I don't think I like the super stylized attempt here. Let's see, maybe what we'll do instead is here we can go ahead and kind of do a little bit of this. And then I also need to see about maybe taking this forward some. Try something different. Maybe it's a matter of like completely ignoring see if we can get this to feel a little bit better. It still has too much like my mouth to it. That's too thin. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Let me see. Yeah, so here's what I'm going to end up doing. Let's just go ahead and I'm going to. I was trying to just eyeball it, and that's not going to work. Sorry, not that. Don't add that. So what I'm going to do instead is let's just go ahead and kind of add her in here. And this is probably shot with like an 85mm camera sort of lens. If it wasn't, that'll hopefully at least get us a little bit closer. Let's see if we can get this to be kind of lined up so that we can start to make some real progress. That'll work right there. Okay, so let's start kind of lining things up roughly. The neck is like super off, but we'll fix it like now. Take that nose, kind of put that roughly where it's supposed to goes. And let's go through and make sure that we have this area lined up a bit better. A little less cheekbone, it looks like. We'll have to fix the eyes. The eyes will need some decent work to be able to make that work. Kind of push the forehead in a bit. Let's take this ear. It's gonna get super mushed and we're gonna have to clean it up, but It looks miserable. Let's turn off the dynamic mode, because it's you can definitely tell it's like too wide, especially back at the ears. So we're going to do something like this and then pull the ears back a little bit. Might be too much. Let's see. Oh no, it looks like that part needs to be pulled back more. And that, yeah, like the ear as a whole needs to be pulled back a bit more. Okay, let's work on refining some of these forms now. So the time that I get for a character, I don't really get assigned like a deadline per se, but it takes me a couple weeks. And that's with like a ton of corrections and things like that. I can usually go through and get a character looking kind of like themselves the first day. And then it's just a bunch of, you know, tweaking, getting clothing to work right, things like that. See if we can get the eyes more lined up. Okay, now let's bring back, that looks so bad. This stage is always so bizarre because there's so much to it. Let's go ahead and grab the eyes. Make sure that these are in place where they're supposed to be. Oh, it looks so terrible. It looks like way too wide through here. Like I'm trying to go through and compare also with like more frontal images just to see. It does look kind of menacing. It's like I'm not used to working on a tablet anymore. I feel like production the last little while has kind of spoiled me because I work on a Cintiq for work. And so working on my personal tablet now is just like, even though I've been doing, you know, working on a tablet for like over a decade, it's oh, that looks miserable. Okay. Let's kind of cheat the eyes just a little bit. The lip shape needs to be worked on. I think the eyes, like the irises, need to be a little bit bigger too. Oops, let's turn on local symmetry so that it's... Okay, let's turn those eyebrows back on, see if we can get these to be less woof. It's always kind of tricky. Yeah, I guess we can kind of do a uniform scale. It's always kind of tricky doing these speed exercises, especially starting from a base mesh, because there's so much to do to get these to go in the right direction and to really look like what you want it to look like. It's like typically I'll take a good, the full day, the first day to really get the essence of the character in there. And so like trying to cram an 8-hour day into into a 2 or 3 hour stream. Pull the cheek up a little bit here. Let me see. Got this here. Starting to feel a little bit better, although I need to kind of pull this up maybe. I'm just trying to soften out the jawline a little bit. She has a very powerful jawline, but not like, and then that bottom lip needs to be taken in. See if we can get some better shape through here. She doesn't really have like a huge overhang right here like I have with the model at the moment. So let's kind of pull that out some. Let's increase the opacity some so we can see a little bit better. There does seem to be some though, so let's make sure that we keep that a little bit. Let's go through and just kind of, oh, don't smooth it. Don't smooth it. That was too much. Something like that. Something like that. A little bit less out here. All these saving. Let me see. Let's go preferences. Say quick save. We'll say maximum duration. We'll say, yeah, 30 minutes. Oh, shoot. Restoration, yeah, we'll say 10 minutes. Max quick save files, that's fine. Let's say config, we'll say store config. That way we can keep working and not have to worry too much about everything. Okay, I'm going to grab that. Just kind of pull this up and in a little bit. like the eyes feel too large now. They feel too cartoony, and I don't feel like I like that. It's always kind of a tricky thing. I need soften. Let's go ahead and select just these parts that I want to use. Make sure that's centered. Let's check this and kind of see. Size-wise, that's feeling a little bit better. The nose needs to be tweaked. The mouth definitely needs to be tweaked. It's getting better though. Yeah, the shape is one of those things that needs to be kind of played with the eyes. But it's definitely getting closer, which is nice. Bottom lip, I think, needs some TLC here. Let's go ahead and do something like this. And in fact, this should technically be more like my level 0. Let me see if I can catch up with chat here. Want to become famous? No. Buy followers, primes, and viewers on Mount Viewers. Let me see. So I do character modeling for Marvel Animation. Yeah, so this is kind of essentially what I do all day long. But I love it so much that it's, it's just what I love doing. Let's see, this needs to come back a little bit. Yeah, it's like I worked hard to make my hobbies into my career. Which is something that you ought to be careful with, right? But it's in this instance, I feel satisfied from it, Let's go ahead and kind of even out this topology through here. So that's a lot less pinched in random weird places. It's starting to look a little bit less like her, but we got some things that we can do to kind of tweak. As somebody was mentioning, make the chin less sharp. So maybe we can just try softening it just a little bit like that. eyebrows. It looks like she has a little bit more of like a slant outward to her eyebrow. So kind of play with that a little bit. The brow still feels like it's a little bit too pronounced. So is the top of the head, so I'm going to kind of play with that some. It's all just kind of like going through and observing, tweaking. I don't want the back of the skull to be this pronounced, so I'm just going to have it kind of fade off a little bit more like that. Let's do something kind of like that. Who are some of your, female heroes? I want to try to be able to kind of continue this series. I've got a list of my own of people that, women that I feel like are noteworthy and have powerful voices and whatnot that I'd like to be able to share and support. Let's block in some hair because she needs it. The nose feels a little bit too wide at the tip at the whole bridge. Give me a second. Hey Kev, how you doing? Corner of the mouth is one of the hardest to get right. Yeah, it's definitely one of the harder areas to get right because either it's too sharp or not sharp enough. So yeah, it's one of those that definitely deserves some decent attention. Something kind of like that going on. Hey, gorgeous. Let's see. It's gonna pull that in just a little bit. I feel like this is making kind of the wrong shape, so we're just gonna kind of tweak and pull and play with it a little bit. Yeah, it's starting to feel a little bit nicer. This forehead though is something's kind of like off for me with it, and I'm just trying to figure out exactly what's going on here that I want to fix. I'm going to sharpen up plane here. That kind of adds a little interesting bit of style there. I'm just gonna try to push and pull some of these things to feel a little bit more stylized, more designed. I feel like this needs to kind of come back maybe a little bit more. The shape of the mouth up top, yeah, kind of fix that a little bit. What's work? Brad blunders. Trying to figure out if you're joking around like, what's work? Or like, or if you're being serious and you're asking what I do for work. See. Here, let's come up here actually. Now we can block in some hair. How do you go about texturing a character? Do you sculpt in pores, or do you texture paint that in, or send it to someone else? Typically, I don't go into those kinds of details. Unless it's like a really old character. Pores aren't something that I feel like a stylized character necessarily needs, because especially if it's super simplified. I'm going to have a lot of like back and forth with this chin and jawline. But you know, it kind of just depends on what it is that that you're going for, because there are some really super cool simplified stylized characters that have really neat pore detail, and that's fine. It's fine. It works really well for that character and becomes a point of interest, and that's really not great. I didn't like that. Let's because like part of her likeness is the way that her face kind of has that eye bag kind of coming down here over her cheek, and I feel like in order to get that, I have to make some changes. Let's do this. I'm going to take this down. Soften that out a little bit, pull this out some. Okay, and then this stuff we can go ahead and we can kind of soften that out some. Oops. Let's kind of dig that in and then pull it out down here. It's definitely a bit much, but we'll kind of fix it. We'll tweak it and fine tune it some. A little bit better. It's always like kind of a back and forth. Okay, so that's going to no longer be the ridge. This is going to be the ridge. In fact, maybe I need to just, that's a little bit strong. Let's go ahead and take that down. It's going to give us just a little bit more out here. Yeah, it's all just going to be kind of a bit more, I'll say, meat through there. It's feeling a little bit better. Oh, that color is miserable. I am going to say MRGB and we'll say color will fill object. We'll just kind of start over from scratch. Let's add another subdivision level just for the sake of, you know, kicks and giggles. Okay, let's block in some hair too. Weird. Okay, so let's see this hair base. Let's go ahead and take it and, well, I mean, we can get rid of the one below it. Delete, okay. Take the eyebrows, move them up, go to the hair base. Let's say, shrink it down some. Let me see. It's always kind of tricky to repurpose hair. Especially when it's super dense like that. Let's do this. Dynamesh. I don't know what resolution we're going to want. That's too high. Yeah, it might be a little bit low, but it'll be good enough for now, I think. Okay, so let's go ahead and start sculpting and pulling and making magic happen. Starting to go somewhere. Let's go ahead and make this darker brown. Uh-oh. Didn't realize I hadn't turned it on yet. Turn on that hair. So the hairline needs to be moved forward and down some. Bring some of that hair into the front, bring some of this hair into the front. She's gonna need like the jacket collar and things like that in order for it to feel really believable. But it's anyway, we'll get places. So this hairline needs to come more something like this, I think. You overstepped. That's funny. Yeah, so stylized does rely a lot on the surfacing, but any kind of skin detail is going to be part of that surfacing. So it's very similar. It's very similar to realistic stuff. It's just that it's very similar. It's just different results. Let's see if we can get this looking more right. A lot of this, I mean, she has very thin hair, so it kind of falls down more around her head instead of being propped up like that. So it's going to be a matter of bringing this down. Technically, this is like much larger. Let's see. Come on. Okay, let's see if we can get this to make sense in the 3D space. That's huge. Which means it might be just a matter of going through and yeah, because that's not working. That's not even looking remotely like her. That's so funny. It's like one of the hard things is that it's not looking like AOC. I think a lot of it has to do with the hairline. I'm just trying to figure out exactly what I need to do to make that hairline work. Let me see if I can find. It's like a lot of it also has to do with like the jaw and the jawline and the chin and things like that. And she does have this very I'm just trying to figure out how to push these shapes around to make her feel like her. A lot of it might be a matter of adding in the right colors, but I feel like that ear is so far back that it's creating issues for me. And it's like I had moved it back on purpose, but it's just not feeling like it's working for me. Yeah, so her eyeballs just have the textures turned off right now. Nothing major. But it's like I feel like the eyes don't really have, in fact maybe it's just a matter of taking the eyes and saying poly paint. I could probably do it with that, just kind of make that a little bit more colored in. The eyelashes definitely need to be longer. Let's make them grow some. Go ahead and insert a loop here. Let's go ahead and kind of push this up a little bit. It's starting to look a little bit better, but it's one of those things that there's just so much. In fact, it almost looks more like Meghan Markle than it does AOC. Try to get some of these structures lined up. Oh, that looks worse. Here, let's go through. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and color pick from the lips. Oh, boost that RGB intensity. That's not what I wanted. Right there. Just to be able to keep that kind of in that same vein there. Shoot, this doesn't look anything like her, and this is like... Pull this forward. Yeah, it's like the hard thing is that it's like it's just feeling too masculine. Narrow this section up a little bit. Maybe I need to change pictures. Let's go ahead, let's save this spotlight. Save, yes, I want to replace it. Texture, let's import a different image. I mean, this one's not going to be as easy to like key out or anything like that, but it's... Let's go ahead and do something like that so we don't have, so we're not losing our blacks. Try to get rid of some of these. Oops. That was so close. I was looking so... Here we go, it's a little bit better. Oh, that's too much. Don't go that far, don't go that far, don't... Stop it. What are you doing? It's like there's no... Get rid of these islands here. Get rid of all that. Get rid of all that. some of these areas. Ooh, shoot. I should have gone through and done like a caricatured sketch of her just so that I'd have like a better reference for something a little bit simpler to work with. I feel like going through and doing portraits of people can be difficult, especially if you're trying to keep it stylized but your reference isn't stylized. Okay, let's go ahead and get that brush. Paint out everything that's not necessary through here. Zoom in a little bit. Let's grab our intensity. Oh, sorry, not our intensity. Our actual brush here. Sometimes I feel like there's something there and then the brush goes through and tells me, nope, that's not actually there. It's like, are you kidding me? It's right there. It must be on the other image. Okay, it's eating away at her cheek a little bit too much there, but that should be fine. Okay. This is a little bit better because it is more revealing of like her neck up to her head sort of shape, and some different shapes with her face and hairline. So let's see if we can get this to work, and we'll just save it out as the next spotlight. I haven't even saved my file yet. I've been like too worried on whether or not it's actually working. Let's turn off the hair. Let's turn down the opacity, get it lined up. Yeah, something like that. Let's see if we can get this to feel a little bit better. Shoot. Let me see. Yeah, once you get the eyes, everything does seem to fall a little bit more into place. It's just a matter of getting the eyes to feel right. Okay, let's do this. Let's turn off the color there so we can focus on the shape. Just make sure that that's going to be kind of helpful. Gonna bring that chin back a little bit. Go ahead and give her a little bit more fullness through here, 'cause it feels about right. See, we can get some different polygroups in here just to be able to really help define what's going on. See if I can figure out getting these structures around the eyes to work, because she has like these fascinating sort of just the way that her brow kind of comes down. So getting that to work will be, I feel, important for being able to get her her likeness working. I feel like now I'm looking at this part in the chin. It feels like the chin is just like kind of coming forward too much. Going stylized does mean it's open to your interpretation. A little bit, for sure. Genial la selección de modelo. Gracias. Hey, Leonard. It's so funny, Hannibal. You're like, you know all the different names of like all the different sections of the face. I don't. I need to learn it a little bit better. Which function of Spotlight were you talking about, Leonard? Were you talking about the being able to erase it away, or? Or oh, I somehow lost one of my points here. What happened? That is super twisted. What in the world? Okay, let's do something like this, and then come play with this just to see if we can get this to feel a little bit more straightened out, because I don't know how that got so messed up, but that's pretty messed up. You can see how these polygons are all super, super twisted. Wait, you're bilingual? Yes. Oh, what did I do before? So I do character modeling for Marvel, for Marvel Animation. Very, very stylized stuff there. Before that, I was at Netflix, and I did concept sculpting for Netflix for feature animated short, animated content. I was on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory there, which is cool. And then before that, I was at Walt Disney Imagineering and did concept sculpting for rides for the theme parks around the world, primarily Disneyland Tokyo. That was fun. That was great. In fact, that's where I know Leonard from, who's over on YouTube. And then, yeah, before that, I was at DreamWorks and Warner Brothers Games, and I've been a lot of different places. It's been fun. Quoi? Oh, merci. But yes, I am bilingual. I speak Spanish and English, a little bit of French. I can answer very, very basic questions, like où sont les toilettes and things like that. Let me jump into the okay, so that should be good. Let me jump into the spotlight stuff here in just a second, because it's insanely helpful. So Spotlight has so many different features that I feel like get super underplayed and underused and under just everything. Let's get that. Let's kind of pull this in some just for the sake of filling the hole. I'm definitely not going to finish this during the stream, and I wonder if I'll ever finish it at all. But in fact, it may be one of those things. I don't know. I'm kind of struggling with this series, and I'm trying to, because one of the things that I want to get better at is getting a likeness, and I'm struggling at it real hard, like real hard. Let me check my sound settings. My microphone should be just fine, but back. Hold on. Do 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 do. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody else seems to not have a problem hearing me. So one of the things that you can do to be able to check is you can check your output, you can check your device properties, and then you can check, your balances and things like that. You can check your master volume. You can check, just things through here. I don't know. You're the only person to complain about not being able to hear me. Everybody else has been able to hear me just fine, so I do run into problems if I'm talking away from the mic. But everybody seems to be able to hear me. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see if we can get this mouth to match up. Although without fail, every stream there is at least one or two people. There are at least one or two people that go through and comment saying that they can't hear. So I don't know what's causing that. Because quite honestly, I'm not much of a sound guy, but I do know that it's not something on my end. Let's go ahead and take the dynamic size, and we will turn this down. We'll pull this up. She has like these super pronounced collarbones. So I think one of the things that we'll do, let's go ahead and I'll take this. Yeah, let's boost up our subdivisions once here so we can pull this down and in. And then let's kind of pull this back a little bit. smooth that out just a little bit, smooth this out a little bit, just to even out the squares some. The skin needs to be darker. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. Oops, I don't want RGB on that at all. Just want that to be super, super subtle. That's looking a little bit better. I'm going to go back to the eyes. That's a little bit better. Now I feel like we're starting to go somewhere. Now I feel like it's starting to actually work. Interesting. Yeah, so let me show you a little bit about the changing the background and things like that. Since I have this saved, let me go ahead. Let's say this is a good image to kind of showcase with. So with Spotlight, in fact, let's turn up the opacity just so we can make it really super clear what's happening. Is this paint function? So there are a couple of things that we want to understand about ZBrush. Is that black for ZBrush when you're dealing with textures means transparent. That just, it's going to read that as an alpha setting. It's going to say completely not visible. And so like when I bring in a PNG file for Spotlight, it's going to read the transparency as if it was like just a flat image with black background, and it's going to key out that black. And so Spotlight has this keying function, kind of like if you're familiar with like video and doing green screen stuff and things like that. It has this functionality of being able to key out certain colors. So if I select the paint color and I hold Control Alt and then I click and drag in a certain color, you can see like it starts to key out that area. So I mean I can turn my image on and off. If I Control Alt click and drag, oh shoot, I didn't realize that was off. Okay, so paint turned on, Control Alt click and drag, and you just keep dragging. It's going to keep adjusting for the next color in the whatever spectrum that you're selecting. So if we go ahead and say, let's delete that. Let's say texture. Let's grab this one right here because this will be kind of a neat experiment too. We can go ahead, select the paint, and we can Control Alt click on the blue. And you see it's just starting to kind of change its tolerance to get to more and more of the other colors, and it's just winding its way around. Super helpful. And that's essentially the way that you go about getting rid of the background, and it's helpful because now I have a clear image that I can go ahead and reference against, to be able to line my character up, line my reference up, those sorts of things. I do feel like some of these things, like essence wise, well, her lips need to be here. Let's go ahead, let's do adjust colors, kind of like what I was saying. Let's kind of boost the saturation just a little bit. Okay, put that back at 0. Let's see. It's kind of dark in it, and now lighting is such a hard thing for me to deal with, and skin tone has always been super hard for me. It might be a little bit too saturated, actually. Like, for instance, the person I'm most used to looking at and seeing is my wife, and she has this beautiful, rich. She's darker than AOC is, but has like this very rich, saturated sort of color to her. I feel like a lot of like what I'm getting from Alexandra right here is that she's got like this kind of faded color, not because her skin is not rich in color, but because the light is whatever Congress lighting that they have. There we go. Let's kind of boost that color some. Something like that, maybe. It needs to be a little bit more red, I think, but it's okay. Let's go ahead and select these. Mask everything else. And then if you have your spotlight turned on, you can come over, you can color pick straight from your image. Let's come over here, we'll say RGB color fill object. And that gets more exactly what it is that she has. I want to fix some of these shapes going on through here. She has kind of like the wrong structure to her lips right now. Let's grab move topological. Okay guys, quick poll. What is your favorite Disney song? Go. I've always loved Eye to Eye from the Goofy movie. I think it's super awesome. Let's give her lips a little bit more fullness. I think that'll help to kind of boost that. Hellfire from Hunchback of Notre Dame. Oh, you know what? That's too much right there. Let's see. Ooh, interesting things that you notice when you're going back and forth. It's just the way that the lips line up. Oh, that's too much. It's too much. Cool. Yeah, it's a fun one. In fact, one of my friends, Colleen, she did a sculpt of Frollo from Hunchback of Notre Dame. She's always talking about how emotional that song is and just how I don't know how powerful of a bad guy he is to her is kind of fun. It is kind of fun. See, right here you can definitely tell she has more eyelash than other images that I had been referencing. I think it might be worthwhile to reference what we have here. Let me see if I can. Ah, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Like, shoot. It's kind of interesting to me when I have a different subtool selected. It seems like I've had occasion where the eyeballs are looking like they have like a weird little white artifact in the middle of the pupil, and it's kind of driving me nuts. I am not enjoying it, sir. This is starting to look much nicer. I think with these eyelashes, I need to go through and kind of make a bottom row too. And a dark movie compared to the rest. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely much higher stakes, much more serious, much darker themes than certainly the Disney cartoon movies for the time. Aladdin, Friend Like Me, that's a great one. Bing Crosby, Headless Horseman, that was fun. Yeah, I love. I like some of the ones coming out with the newer movies too. Like there's I think it's called Leading the Way or something like that with from Raya and the Last Dragon. There's Touch the Sky from Brave. That was a good one. Encanto had a few good ones. Bolt is one of my favorites, though. I had to go through and get some music. Oh, I wish I could, but the music, the video would get flagged and taken down. The video would get taken down, or at least muted. So that becomes a little bit of a. Yeah, it's definitely kind of a pain in the butt, but whatever. Go ahead and rotate this around, bring it to the other side. Now we don't need like the full eyelash here in order for these eyelashes to work. I'm just going to go ahead and delete hidden, and we'll say Control W just to make sure we have different polygroups here. And in fact, the length of this bottom one, I usually don't make it extend the whole length of the eye. This is all messy anyway. Let's see. let's go ahead and do something like this. Delete hidden, so that we get rid of the inside part of the bottom eyelash section here. Let's kind of move this in. Oops. I want to spread these out too. It drives me nuts playing around with the eyelashes and how they get super messed up. It's probably just it just means that I need to go ahead and get like clean up my original file, which is fine. Kind of soften our masks so that way it gets rid of the mask on the other side just for this single polygroup piece here. That's a little bit much, so I'm going to try to kind of hide it just a little bit, you know, just make it so that it's not as present, because the thing is that I want it to be there, I just don't want it to distract from because like if it's too thick, then it creates too much of an outline and then it just becomes this thing, you know. Oh, I thought I had another edge over there. I guess we'll just move these over some so we can even out that curve a little bit better. And see, something like that looks much nicer. It still provides a little bit of like that outlining, but then it also it's like it's not so much there that it's going to be like this insane blah, you know. Let me see. I haven't been in taps with the older movies, haven't seen Brave, but it's on my list. Bolt was fun. I love Bolt. It's one of my favorites, actually. I think it's one of the most underrated Disney 3D movies that have come out. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Toki. I always have fun. It's just a matter of, you know, sitting down, playing, and having a time. Let me see. I am noticing like very subtle like little structures in her nose right here. So it might be worthwhile for me to do something like this. She has like this very subtle little bit of like a dip in her nose there. I don't know if I made it enough, but let's go ahead and do something like this. It's like when I see that on a nose, I think of cats, you know, like a cat nose. Before the pre-Tangled era, Disney 3D animation was not as recognized. Yeah, Tangled definitely like put things so much more on the map. Yeah, Tangled was awesome, and that's one that's it has so much artistic achievement to it. It just blows my mind. Let me see. She has little earrings there. Let's give her some earrings. I think that might help her to feel more happy with herself. Yeah, let's go ahead and take this. We'll rename it. Oops. Earrings. turn it on. Turn on symmetry. Turn off local symmetry. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab this little guy right here. Boom. And all of a sudden, voila. She's ready to go to an 80s party. Yeah, absolutely. They threw a princess in, and there you go. It's very prominent from that angle. How is it in others? Can't be sure if color or flash makes it seem more pronounced. I suspect the flash definitely helps, or whatever lighting is kind of making it feel more pronounced. So I might have to go through and kind of play with it at some point, but, you know, whatever. I think it feels... might be a little bit too much, actually. Making me second guess my moves. Let's grab. Just kind of soften it out just a little bit. And then we'll see about strengthening this peak right here just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, these earrings. Get that centered. Oh boy. Oh boy. Let's go ahead, let's do this. So this is a really cool trick too. If you're not familiar with this, then this will save your life. I have the gizmo selected. I'm going to hold Alt and I'm going to click and drag, and that'll line it up so that it matches that orientation, and I can just center it, and now we're good to go, as if, you know, almost as if we had just dragged it out. If we want to really kind of recenter the thing around the tool, we can just make a new piece, make it big so we can actually see it. But don't want to make it too big because I might not need to. But a big reason for me wanting to make sure that this is kind of sitting right is I wanted to be able to widen it. Not necessarily a ton, but, you know, widen it enough that it feels a little bit more like what she has on in this picture. I like that. I think that looks nice. And then it just makes it easier to align and make sure that it's fitting the way that we need it to. Yeah, let's go in over here. Actually, just for the sake of making sure, yeah, we're going to do from this one. I'm going to say Q mesh. I suspect the earrings make something of like that sort of shape where it's like a crescent, but it looks like it might be a little bit. Yeah, let's keep that last one on there. That'll be fine. And then for the sake of keeping it consistent with the reference, let's go ahead and grab Z metal, grab kind of like a yellowish orange kind of color, MRGB color, fill object, and boom, she has gold earrings. The ear shape, oh, that's interesting. All these things that I'm starting to notice now that I've been looking at this for the last 2 hours. Just for the sake of making sure that I'm not going to be going over into somebody else's stream time, I better check and see the calendar. And this will be a good opportunity for you guys to see the calendar too. That, and I think my kids are wanting to go and do something today, so I'll have to see what it is we end up doing. Got some stuff on the screen or something. Oh, these aren't dead pixels, are they? Oh shoot, I think I've got some dead pixels in my monitor. Oh, nope, I see what it is. It's the... it's my reference. Thanks, Hannibal. Brief off-topic question. Anybody know if using OBS, how do I do follower alerts in stream? Ooh, that's a good question. There should be stuff about that on YouTube for sure. Her bottom lip is too pronounced. See how it's like coming forward too much? I'm going to grab that. Let's grab this. And pull that in. Make sure that everything beside the space here underneath the chin is masked, so that way I can kind of soften that out a little bit. Just trying to gradually sneak up on that shape. It seems to be working all right. Looks good. And then for this, I want this to be a little bit more immediate of a change, so it's like straight down and then straight out sort of shape. So I'm going to, let's be deliberate with this. Mask that out so I don't have to worry about modifying that on accident. Yeah, it'd be cool to have, cause like I know that like some of my friends from the stream team do it. You know, they have the chat notifications pop up, or anytime there's a new follow, or you know, things like that, whatever. Or whatever the bits thing is about. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Nobody's ever given me bits. Okay, that's a little bit better. I like that, and it's starting to feel stylized without feeling obnoxious, right? So it's nice. That reminds me of John Candy selling curtain rings and planes, trains, and automobiles. You know, I don't think, thinking back on it, I don't think I've ever actually seen that movie. I don't think I've actually seen that movie. Which, I mean, that's one that's been around a while. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he's the same, the guy who directed that one is the same guy that directed Home Alone and Pretty in Pink and what's it called? 16 Dresses and all those. A lot of those movies that were like super big in the 80s. 90s. that's starting to be a little bit nicer. The ears are definitely more stylized here than they are in real life. So I'm not going to have like all the right looping down and around here, you know, getting that 9 and the Y and things like that, but it'll be good enough. John Hughes, that's the guy. That's the guy. That is guy. It's funny. It's like, I don't know if you've read Ready Player One or Ready Player Two. John Hughes is kind of a big plot point in Ready Player Two. So it's kind of funny to have him come up in conversation, because it's like I feel like everybody knows Home Alone, and you know, they're fun movies, they're great, everybody has fun with them, but I feel like John Hughes is one of those people from history that people don't really ever talk about. So it's just really kind of funny to have seen him pop up in the book, and to and then to have him pop up in conversation a few days after I read it. This feels too sharp. It's not that the lip shape feels wrong. It's just that it felt a little bit too sharp right there in the space above the lip. I think I'm still getting a little bit of that sharpness. Let's kind of get rid of that. That's good. That's good. Okay, let's try to figure out some different hair, because this obviously does not look right. Get rid of that. Thanks, Leonard. It's looking better, I think, and that's a relief. In fact, I feel like maybe her nose is coming back too far. Not a ton, but like just a little bit. I think that feels a little bit better. Mask out that bottom lip there. Kind of mask out part of that down there. Local symmetry. Turn that off so that we get a better result here. I'm just going to try to like tip that top of the lip up. That's a little bit too much. But maybe if I tip it up and then bring it down. Yeah. Not bad. Not too bad. You like her? Yeah. So this is Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. She is a congresswoman from New York. She's my age, and she's really rocking it. One of the things that I really like about AOC is that she's a regular person who happens to have been elected to Congress. And I think that that's huge because she can relate to every common person. You know, like she knows the real struggles of like what it's like to go through and have terrible insurance and how to work in the private sector and how to, you know, like she knows what real life is like. And I think that that's insanely important. And let's get rid of a little bit of that. And something where I feel like a lot of our other elected officials can't relate, you know, like it's so, you know, to me it's a big deal that, you know, that she can go through and speak to the challenges of the common people because she is part of that, you know. It's you know, she's experienced it, and she's experienced it recently, you know. She's been in Congress for a very short period of time, but you know, it's just one of those things that I think people don't truly pay attention, I guess, to what it is that we really need. When they think about elected officials, they think about like, you know, they need somebody old and experienced, and it's like, no, you know, the experience you get from being young in America is just as important, and if not more important, because everything's been set up by older people. And so that, and I really like that she's trying to push for that Green New Deal and things about like environmentalism and trying to, you know, just trying to make the world a better place. And I think that this is something that is very seriously lacking in a lot of other people. So yeah, my spiel on AOC. Gotta kind of clean up this line going through here. Things to practice for beginners. Anything that has to do with seeing and observing. Like right now, this is one of the exercises that I'm choosing to do personally. I mean, I'm a professional, but it's still an important exercise. Is practicing seeing and observing and picking up on things, little nuances or forms or structures. Let's kind of play with this. You always got to check things from different angles. Yeah, different speed exercises just for the sake of being able to try out different things, not being afraid to fail, you know, just just going at it. I feel like some of the things that really helped me to start to get to, oops, oh shoot, to start to get to a point where I could do this professionally is, you know, doing exercises, like DTIYS, like the draw this in your style sort of challenges. Those are so insanely helpful, because you get to take somebody else's design and interpret it your way, and that gives me so much freedom to try different things. Granted, I've been doing, DTIYS has only been around the last few years, and I've been a professional during that time, but it's still helpful. It's still helpful. It's still helpful, guys. Get some ASMR. It doesn't really work like this, but hey, why not? Cool. I think she might need a little bit more of a boost here in her cheek. Feels like she's losing a little bit of volume there. Okay, that feels better. I'm like needlessly worried about getting into her hair because we all saw how that went last time. Oh wow, hey, how about that? Let's get rid of that. Okay. So I'm just gonna, oh, you know what, let's do this. We'll say polygroups, we'll say group by normals, and then we'll say mirror and weld. Pardon me. You know what, while I'm still thinking about it, let's check the schedule just to make sure. This is a good profile view that I found of her, and it's kind of revealing too, to be able to see the way that her nose is. I'm gonna have to reference this a little bit here in a minute. Let's go Pixelogic. Let's go Community, ZBrushLIVE. The all-in-one digital sculpting awesomeness of power. But yeah, so as a beginner, it's good to let's stop that. Let's go to calendar. As a beginner, you want to, oh cool, so I don't have to worry about anybody jumping on until Monday. How does that mean that AC is not on today or tomorrow? Anyway. Oh, it's kind of interesting. It looks like I'm not even popping up. Maybe it's just because my time's already passed. Because technically I'm only scheduled to 10, but I don't have to stay on, you know, I can stay on if I want to past 10 if I feel like as long as I don't have somebody scheduled to go after me. Okay, with these earrings, I am going to insert an edge loop. You know what? Let's see. Instead of inserting an edge loop, let's say extrude polygroup island. And we'll kind of extrude that inward. Kind of, you know, let's do it quite a bit there. We'll say inset polygroup island. I didn't change it to standard, but it kept it anyway, so that's good. Extrude polygroup island, and we'll just hold shift and we'll just pull out along the normal there. That should be good for what I want. We'll say insert multiple edge loops, keep polygroup, and boom. You know what, let's go through here, we'll mask that. Okay. Mask that. Cool. Okay, so that's all masked. I just kind of wanted to get a little bit more of a roundness to the tips here. I know that kind of messes with the shape a little bit, but it's alright. I'll forgive myself. Oh, you know what? Let's kind of move it into... That looks good, so we'll just keep that the way it is. Move that in. Okay. And let's just use... Hello? It's like barely wanting to move. It doesn't want to move at all. Oops. Okay. Cool. So what I want to do now is let's go ahead and select this, invert it, Control W just to get it to be like two different poly groups. We'll say crease PG. Just so that way we have these nice simple round sort of. And the other thing that we could do, let's do this. This would be cool. So I'm going to say layers, create a new layer. I'm going to say deformation, polish. Okay. And actually it's not too bad. One thing that kind of bothers me is that it got to be a little bit too, you know what, let's do polish by groups instead. Because that's a little bit better. Here, let me see about kind of raising this and keeping that curve consistent, or at least more consistent than than not. Let's check it with. You see, one of the things that happened when we created when we did the deformation is that it lost a little bit of volume there. Here, let's say bake. Bring that in, something like that. And then with the crease and then the subdivisions we can do is we can come down, bring it down to like 1. Bring the subdivisions up to like 3 or something like that. I'm trying to decide if that feels like it's enough or not. Oh well, maybe we'll decide later. Gonna kind of tweak some of this shape here. It feels a little bit too extreme. Something like that feels a little bit better. There's so much to kind of play with when you're exploring something like this. Make those big earrings, they look cool. Yes, the thing is that her earrings are really quite small. Let me check this just to see kind of more or less. Oh no. Yeah, it looks like they could stand to be a little bit bigger. Cool. Something like that works. But yeah, I don't think I want to make them any bigger than that though. Okay. Let's do some sort of hair thing here. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn on, I'm going to use like extract to be able to create a hair mesh. I say in full confidence. Let me see what we've got here. We can come in, we can do something like that. Okay, let me see. Let's kind of trim this up a little bit. Maybe trim this up just a little bit. We'll have to play with the silhouette of her nose here in just a minute too. But let's go ahead and let's get this extract. Ooh, going gold. You know what? In fact, let's put this hair below. Grab that. Go ahead and grab the color, MRGB color, fill object. Let's grab the inside polygroup, because like this will come in whatever polygroup separation you have. And let's go ahead and join these two polygroups together. Alright, let's do this. We'll say deformation, we'll say polish by polygroup. And the reason I want to do this is that I just want to make sure that it's going all the way through, like into the head. The other thing I could do, just to save a little bit on time, is we can go clip curve. And we can smooth it out. Trying to get like a little bit better of an intersection to this piece here. Okay. She's got a little bit of like a V for Vendetta sort of hairstyle there. Alright, so let's go ahead and grab this top polygroup. and since we're at it, we should consolidate these polygroups here. Wrong chat. So this looks like it's got some more kind of volume to it back here in the back. Just kind of like, just get like some rough strokes in here to figure out some rough hair flow. It's already starting to look tremendously better. Dig it. And then we'll go ahead and we'll insert, make her a ponytail. We'll use extender. We'll just kind of like extend it out just to give us a little extra shape to it. And then let's make sure that our symmetry stays on. Let's go ahead and kind of spread this out. Kind of shrink it down, move it around, all that stuff. That's definitely much better of a look. Still has a ways to go. I think that part of what I need to do is kind of get, oh, where's my perspective? Turn that on. Because like I don't want to follow the shape exactly for the hair, but I do kind of at the same time. And a lot of this might come just from being like once I go in and actually start adding in actual hair sort of stuff, might feel a little bit better. Let's see if we can get a little bit more of that kind of flow and that shape. She has this really cool shape to her hair, and that's more what feels important to me. For this particular sculpt here. I should add in probably like her collar, maybe a necklace too. something like that. Let's turn on the see-through just to be able to kind of double down on our reference. One of the things I'm trying to consider is that her mouth is open there in that image. So I don't want to be like, you know, putting all my eggs in one basket. But they need to go into a basket, you know? Line up just a little bit better. I don't think I've even saved this once. Which is a problem if we're being honest. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like some of what's going on here better without having moved it forward. Okay, let's save it, just because we need to. Let me see, Serena, but then we'll go up and we go to AOC. AOC underscore 01. You know who I feel like it looks like? It doesn't look as much like AOC, at least not from the side. It looks more like Olivia Rodrigo. A little bit. Oops. 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 Oops, 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 oops. Yeah, she has like this insane collarbone. Lollipapa had them 40 thieves, Shazarati had 1,000 tails. Sounds good, Leonard. Thanks for coming and chatting. It's always fun to have familiar people around, and hope your dog enjoys the walk. Who knows, at the rate I'm going, I might still be around. I'm just going to try to more of a sniff than a walk. Let's do something kind of like that. I probably should try to find a way to be able to just extend her body down a little bit. Let's try something. Let's say extrude edge. Extend that down, something like that. And then we'll say edge loop, bring that down. Stitch to end point here, just so that that's consistent. Try to even this out a little bit. And now what I want to do is I want to extend out this middle part so that it's got everything just filling in. Stitch those together. Bring that together a little bit there. It's like we don't need to be, showing a whole lot down this way, but we definitely need to have a little bit more of her chest in there, be able to show kind of like her clavicle, because her jacket comes down. It looks like she has some blouse or something that kind of comes just a little bit below this collarbone line here, so something around here is probably going to work pretty well. Let's see if we can see if we can clean up this line first. Looks all right. Let's get this to be a little bit better here. go ahead and try to get this to line up so that it's, you know, kind of flat along the bottom here. This gives me a little bit better amount of a space there. Okay, let's see if we can get this filled in with polygons. This might take a couple different rounds to be able to make sure that I can get enough in here that I don't want that many. Let's see if this works. Nope. Too many. Yeah. So I'm going to need I had 3 subdivision levels. So I need to have 1, 2 subdivision levels, 1, 2, 3. That should work. Yep, there we go. Boom. I had to think about like how many subdivision levels I had, and, and that was it. Cool. So now that's good. So now what we can do is we can kind of build out a jacket over the top of her, and we can finish kind of putting in her collarbone area here, which is kind of nice. Pull in just to make that collarbone quite a bit more pronounced. In fact, that probably ought to come like up and over toward the center a little bit. Yeah, so the only way that reconstructing subdivisions is going to work is if the topology doesn't get screwed up. So long as everything else kind of stays intact and you're able to add in the proper number of subdivision levels after you extend out, it's just a little bit of math. It's just a little bit of math, but it's worthwhile. It's super nice. It is super nice. Yeah, it's one of those things that I was able to figure out, and I felt really good about it. I feel like that might be too wide for what it is that I'm going for. So I'm just going to kind of bring that together some. Let's kind of flatten this area out a little bit more. Just to feel more like it's got kind of more of the proper anatomy going into it there. kind of pulse this out just a little bit. Okay. So there we go. There's that. She has a little bit of hair. This feels a little bit too narrow. It's like there's a lot of back and forth, I know, but it's all part of the plan. That got a little bit lumpy down here. It's like right here you can see it kind of caving in just a little bit. How you doing, miss? When I'm done. I gotta make a jacket for this little lady here, and then this is certainly looking much more close to to AOC than last week's sculpt was to Serena. But, you know. There's always going to be experiences of and let's go ahead and change this up. So we got color spray alpha 8 just to be able to get color variation in here, but we want to change the color down to like 0.1 or 0.05, like something as low. That's like way darker than I was expecting it to be. Let's go ahead and just undo our mask. Oops. Then we'll just kind of pull away some of that darkness so that it's not as not as evident. It doesn't need to be that way. It's just one of those things to kind of help the the nasal cavity kind of recede a little bit more, but that was obviously, very obviously, not the right choice. Right now I'm just kind of going through and just adding in a little bit of extra subtle color variation to her face, just to make sure that it gets a little bit more of like an organic sort of coloring to it. You can see like it's super subtle, but it's helpful to because skin tone is never going to be just one flat color. Getting a vertex color to show up in Maya, that's not something I've ever actually done, but I do know it's something that you can do. Let's go ahead and kind of lighten up tones to kind of add in the bony ridges sort of areas. Although I'll add in like a little bit of a rosiness kind of underneath that. It just helps to support the idea of like the bony structure underneath. In fact, maybe make it a little bit more saturated. That's a little bit better. And then for the eyes, for the section around the eyes, we're going to want to kind of add in a little bit of like kind of an off gray sort of color around this area. Not that deep though. Yeah, let's go ahead and so I'm trying to get a feel for what this should feel like. Let's go back to startup material, but instead of having it be, so I'm going to go ahead and make a new startup material. Let's see if we can get this to feel good. It was, I know that I modified this for the sake of work. I can't remember exactly what it is that I had done to make it feel right. Let's do something kind of like this for now. Oh, that feels terrible though. That feels terrible. Never mind. We'll just stick with. Maybe we'll go into flat color and we'll just say material, color, fill object, and this way we can kind of see what it is that we're doing with our color. I'm going to need to get kind of like a kind of an orangey tone. For over her eyes. It'll be interesting to get back and see kind of what it is that this turns out to look like when we're done. I'm just like really lightly trying to get this in here. Let's see if we can get like a kind of more of a pink sort of tone for like the corners of the eyes. Oh, sorry, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to turn that off. That's way too dark for what I'm wanting. Let's see if we can push this. Oh, let's grab that color again actually. Yeah, that might work better. Or maybe something kind of in between. Let's go ahead and smooth out the color just to transition it a little bit. let's go ahead and see how that's looking. It's not bad, but I think it could definitely use a little bit more something. This is going to be kind of an interesting, tricky sort of bit here, but just kind of add in some of this here. Underneath the eye as well. And we'll come back with like some of this more like skin tone sort of color. Just to kind of bite it back a little bit. I feel like the chin is too pointed in my model. I feel like it needs to be like a little bit more square, kind of like that. It's a little bit better. Let's check and see. Could probably stand to bring these just a little bit closer together here in the middle. And then since these eyebrows always kind of feel kind of cool if you have like a little extra, just a little extra something to it. So what I like to do, not all the times, but sometimes. And delete lower. Just come in through here. Grab a couple of these. And it just helps to break up the silhouette. Oh yeah, it's on color, not on... Okay, let's go ahead and fill that with the color. Let's make sure that we're getting this all messed out. Oops, there we go. Grab that, kind of pull it in a little bit. we go. Starting to feel pretty cool. Yeah, let me show you actually. There's just to be able to get this from ZBrush to Maya. If I remember right, I think this is the one that I had actually seen and sent to somebody else before, so hopefully this works. Skip ads. Export polypaint from ZBrush to Maya. Yeah, this should be it. You can see there he is, kind of using that polypaint. Thank you. You're welcome. Let me, in fact, let me save it to my watch later, just because it could be good. And then let's say share, copy, and paste. That'll be a good one to go through and watch, Jace. Hopefully it works for you. And this video is only a couple years old, so it should be just fine. A quick save always comes in. Just like right at times that I'd rather just work. Okay, let's see if we can kind of change up and kind of vary up, add a little bit of life into her cheeks here. I feel like it got a little bit too kind of odd in there. Let's warm up her cheeks some. Just felt like it got a little bit too light in tone. So I'm just going to try to warm up some of these little areas, some of these crevices and cavities. Maybe like her nostrils a little bit, underneath her lip. Maybe not. Warm up her ear some. That's a weird comment. Let's go ahead and add in a little bit more brightness to these cheeks here. kind of odd trying to strike a balance. Warm that up and call her pretty much done. And now, like I've been saying for the last, forever minutes, let's get her jacket in there. Let's load the first spotlight. Maybe not. Maybe not. Thanks, Gaboury. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely a little bit different from what I typically do, but I'm trying to push for positive content based on life, and pushing for women's voices and things like that. And she's somebody that I look up to, and that I wish that there was more of in Congress, and because she cares and fights for the people. Let's get that jacket in there. Let's get this, and we will... It doesn't look quite right from the side, but she looks pretty good from the front, so I'm going to call that good. So here's what we're going to do. Let's take this down. Let's go into our I am in primitives, and we're just going to start off with, I really just wanted to start off with 1 cube, but I guess it's fine to start off with 2. Let's just do 1 cube. Or we could just start off with the Q sphere. That works. That works indeed. It works. Gonna pull this into place. And then if you watch carefully, you'll notice magic will happen soon. Okay, let's get this into place, and then we'll make the magic happen. Let's get rid of these polygons here. In fact, not all of those. Let's get rid of that and that. No, get rid of that. Oh shoot. Right there. Modify topology. Delete hidden. And then what we want to do is we want to take this section right here. I'm going to say delete these polygons right here. Boom, boom. We'll bridge these two together. Boom, boom. Insert two edge loops here. Oh, just two, please. 1, 2. And then we will stitch together. So now we have the makings of the jacket, and then we'll we don't have to do anything super complicated for her shirt because it's really just going to be like a plane going in front of her chest. It's not going to be anything fancy. We can go through you know what, let's say Control W just to make that its own thing here. And this way this can be like a sleeve hole. Yeah, working on AOC. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. She is a congresswoman from, I can't remember which district in New York. And she is an example of what good politics is. You know, she looks out for the regular normal people because she knows she is a regular normal person. You know, I feel like she's one of those people that champions normal people, and it's important to have people like her in positions of power because she helps to push actual decent legislature along. And it doesn't always work. There's always opposition, but you know, that jacket is totally messed up, but it'll get there. It's getting political, and I'm not going to respond to those sorts of comments. But I'd invite you to actually look at what it is that she says instead of looking at what the media says that she says or how they frame what she says. You'll feel differently if you listen to the actual person. So this down. And I'll make a collar kind of go on top of this. The cloth simulation stuff, I don't use it a ton, but I do use it quite a bit. But sorry, that's very contradictory. I don't use it a ton, but I do use it from time to time. I really quite enjoy the fact that that I can use it in several different ways, of being able to like simulate on top of geometry, or being able to use brushes that can use the geometry set, or the whatchamadiggits. The teeny tiny little arms. Oops, local symmetry. Being able to use the gizmo, different things like that. So like there are options about how to use the cloth, the dynamics, and I've also used it for more than just cloth. You know, I've used it to be able to do character stuff, or to be able to do like I did a cat for the beta test when we were doing that. I've done balloons, like parade balloons. That was fun. Let's get that to kind of smooth out a little bit, that to smooth out just a little bit. All right. Let's do this actually. Let's go Control Shift D just to be able to duplicate that. And then what I'll do is I will take in fact, let's just simplify it down to something like this. And we'll say delete higher, delete hidden, lower it down, bring it forward, turn off local symmetry because we don't really need it right now. Like that for now. I turn on polyframe, she looks like She-Hulk. A little bit. All those colors. Let's kind of move this up. Turn on the opacity here. Now we can color pick from it. Let's go ahead and say mRGB color fill object. And now we can say, color pick from that jacket there. We can say color fill object. Let's go ahead and turn off that hair for a moment. And we're going to turn this on to double-sided. Yeah, I told you, Leonard. I told you I'd be here. But you're the one that decided to come back, so No, I won't make Nancy Pelosi. I don't feel like she aligns as much with my views and my experiences. I don't feel like she's as much of a voice for the people as AOC is. And they've each led very different lives. Nancy's been in Congress for way too long. AOC is super new to it all, but she's got a powerful voice for the people. She voices her concerns. She talks about what's really happening, and she's not afraid about speaking up. And I think that that's important. It's important to pay attention to what people say. And I feel like AOC is one of those people that says things and works toward things. She's very passionate, and I'm going to you know what, it's fine. That's fine. If you don't want to watch, if you don't want to participate in what I'm having to share, that's up to you. You don't have to be here. I get to be here because, I'm part of a team. I'm not expressing Pixelogic's views. I'm expressing my own, and I'm talking about the good things that good people do. If you want to bash people, go somewhere else. It's okay. You go somewhere else. But what I won't have here is people going through and talking trash about good people who are doing good things for other good people who can't do good things for themselves because they don't have the power or the position to do so. So, feel free to to go talk somewhere else. Yeah, it's way too easy to be critical of people who are actually doing what we need them to do. Because media is going to paint people in the wrong light depending on whether or not they fit their agenda, you know, and it's sad. It's really, really sad. So, you know, sorry if you don't agree with me talking about good things that good people do, but you know, hopefully you can take some time to be more open and consider what it is that I'm that I'm saying and what it is that I'm sharing. And if you trust me at all, you know, just take some time, just think about it. Yeah, I think that's all I'm going to take time to do today. It's been a while, so I'm going to go ahead and save it so I don't lose it. And you know what? Let's do a little bit of a turn here. Let's kind of redo that a little bit. But yeah, there we go. That's where we'll leave it for right now. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, fun stuff. Hope you guys had fun. Sorry it wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but you know, not gonna be able to please everybody. I'm just doing kind of what I feel like is a positive thing, you know, being able to help support female voices of, you know, things that I believe in, and I think that this is one of those, you know, people. Serena Williams was last week. We'll probably do others at some point as well, but we'll have to see. There's always going to be people who don't agree with you, and c'est la vie. Así es la vida. So, you know, the best we can do as people is to, yeah, internet is weird. The best we can do is be open and be willing to accept that other people are going to disagree, but also not to just jump on disagreeing with them, even though we don't even though we don't agree with everything that they're saying. You know, I think the best thing that we can do as human beings is learn to listen, and I think that's why we run into so many issues in the world, is because it's because people aren't willing to listen. So anyway, hope you had fun. Hope you guys learned something or were able to take away something positive from today's stream, and go sculpt something fun. Go do something fun. Enjoy your Saturday. It's a good day. Gosh, I'll see you next time I see you. I think I'm on again next week. Maybe I'll try to do something that's not political figure next week. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time I see you. Cheers.